I want to talk to you guys about one of my favorite setups of all time, and that is a crankbait. This one here being a 13 Fishin jabberjaw. I'm definitely would consider myself like top 5 techniques that I love to throw is going to be a shallow crankbait. Definitely a shallow crankbait fisherman. I love the deep crank as well, but shallow crankbait is definitely one of my favorite things by far to do. Typically, if I'm throwing a crankbait, it's going to be like a 1.5 size, maybe a 2.5. This one, like I said, is about 13 Fishin. It's a jabberjaw. I throw this one the most because, I don't know if you guys hear that clack clack. That's the deal with this one. It has a different action than a lot of these other crankbaits out here with that clack clack. Phenomenal paint schemes, all that good stuff. So typically that's what I throw. I'm usually throwing it on a technique specific rod. So this one here is an Envy rod by 13 Fishin. It's a 7.4 crank rod. I love it because, I don't know if you guys can see that, but let me show you the bend. Guys, this thing, when it loads up there for a nice little crankbait fish, I got plenty of power to get them where I need to get them, and plenty of bend where I can let them kind of move around, especially if he's got like one hook in, that type of thing. He can take off, he can make all the runs he wants because I got plenty of control over him with the action on this rod. So I like these technique specific rod. I'm typically throwing a 6/8 to 1 gear ratio reel. Usually it's a 13 Fishin Inception. This particular time I have a Concept A on, but it's a 13 Fishin Inception, somewhere around a 6/6 to 1. No more than like a 7/3 to 1. I rarely throw it that fast. It's usually 6/6, 6/8 or below, usually what I'm throwing it on. I like to throw it on 10, 12 pound line, whether that be monofilament if I'm trying to get it like up to run a little bit higher, whether that be fluorocarbon if I'm trying to get it as deep as I possibly can. Still fishing shallow, let's say I'm fishing 5 feet, fishing 4 feet, I will pull this out because I know it goes 3 to 5 feet. And then I put fluorocarbon on, and I know that it's going to get me down to the depth I want where I can bang the bottom. That's the key with the crankbait. You usually don't want it just floating through the air. You want it banging the bottom, or you want it banging into something. So if you see some nasty looking stuff, rock, brush pile, tree limbs down, things like that, that's what you want to throw. You want to throw it right into that. Use your rod to kind of play it through that stuff. You're real slow when you see it looks really dicey, real fast, that type of thing. If you got a good crankbait like this one, it'll come through pretty much anything. Very rarely you're gonna get hung up with this one. Some of them have a build that like kind of dive right in and your hooks get hung up. I don't run into that problem with this one a lot, so that's why I throw this one. But this is gonna be my setup for crank, and this is what I throw right here. This is my deal, and like I said, I definitely love to crank, and a majority of my fish, like tournament caching, check, fish that I get all season long in these tournaments that I do are going to come on a crankbait, in particular a jabberjaw. A lot of times I go with the jabberjaw regular, but a lot of times this year I had to go with the jabberjaw deep, which goes about 7 to 9 feet. So sometimes I'm trying to get down there, and I'll throw the 7 to 9 feet depth one in like 5 feet. Because like I said, I'm trying to bang the bottom, or I want to run into everything that's in the water. That's how I get my strikes a lot of times. Very rarely do I get strike when it's just floating in the air. It's usually got to bump the rocks, bump the wood, bump something. So just keep that in mind if you decide to throw a crankbait. You wanted to run into something on your way back. If it comes through nice and clean, you probably ain't gonna get no bite. The moment it comes through clean and bumps a little log, that's when you end up getting a bite. So keep that in mind. Keep cranking. This has been Bassandfurious. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys on the next one.